Good evening, my friend Chris Smith. I apologize that I lost accountability for my morning time. I had work blow up in my face a bit today, so it is evening time. So I'm going to have my story time, my time with you with a glass of wine. I look forward to sharing one with you and Deborah directly. This is Glenn. I miss talking to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. I am having a wonderful time thinking about what is worth sharing, how to make it concise, and I'm finding all kinds of fun connections as this time that we're about to spend will highlight. And I hope you're doing well, brother. I know you are strong. I know you're focused on the task at hand. Big breaths. Wake up. And I look forward to being able to hang out with you. So it's Thursday, the 18th of February. It's evening time. We're going to talk about the parable of the prodigal son. And this is a story very familiar. But man, it took me years to see a turning point in this story that I'd always missed, that I think is the point. It is the turning point of the story, and such a great lesson. We'll go through it. So it's written in Luke. It's Luke 15, Luke 15:11 specifically. There's actually a couple parables ahead of it about the lost coin, lost sheep, which is interesting. It's a series of lostness, but this is one specifically about a father and a son. Luke, the author, is a physician. Very focused. He makes every effort, like a physician would, to be very accurate. He does not get voracious anywhere. He only takes the word as he can know and prove as it was taken. He's not a first-hand observer of Christ's time in terms of the apostle, the 12, but he is likely a part of the apostle 70, which they expanded the group to serve the church better. So I love the beginning of Luke that talks about the most excellent Theophilus. The book of Luke is a handwritten book to a gentleman named Theophilus, who is believed to becoming a believer. But what's really cool is Luke's interest in being accurate. Just as those who from the very beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us, it seemed good to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus. That just sounds cool. I take that name if someone would just say that every once in a while. That you may have certainty concerning the things you have been taught. So Luke is writing this to make sure that his friend, somebody he's mentoring, Theophilus, has an accurate recording of Jesus' gospel-tized time on earth. So we're going to skip right to the parable of the prodigal son. And the story tells itself, and I'll interrupt myself as I see fit. And he said, there was a man, this is Jesus speaking, there was a man who had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me. Now, this is a huge insult, especially a younger son. Older son usually gets the vast majority of dad's inheritance. So the younger son asking the father to give me my inheritance before you die is a huge smack in the face, right? So we probably somewhat recognize that in our culture, but in that culture, this is 10x, 100x of what we would think of it in this culture, in our culture today. But and he divided his property between them, his two sons. Not many days later, the younger son, shocker, gathered all that he had and took a journey into a far country, and there he squandered his property in reckless living. Shocker again, right? And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in the country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of the country, who sent him into the fields to feed pigs. And he was longing to be fed with the pods that the pigs ate, and no one gave him anything. Again, cultural context, a Jew feeding pigs, an unclean animal, an unclean food to even be considered eaten, and for him to be jealous of what a pig is eating, this is saying the lowest of the low. The son is as low as it possibly can get. We might skip over that, reading that here, but in this context, he is rock bottom, is what that just said. But when he came to himself, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread? But I perish here with hunger. I will rise and go to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants.'" This is an absolute statement of the son changing his course. He is admitting he has failed and full of fault and returning to the truth. He is admitting and he is repenting, is the Bible word for what that is saying. And he arose and he came to his father. And this is the most important, the turning point line I mentioned earlier. But while he, the son, was still a long way off, it's stating there that the father was looking longingly every day. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion, and he ran and embraced him and kissed him. So the earth-shattering component of this, the father was not pissed about his son's insulting request. He was longing for him to come. While he was still a long way off. And then the father ran to the son. That's not the way these things work. Sons run to their fathers. Fathers wait for their sons to run to them. That's not what this father did. This father ran to his son. And of course we're talking about God to us. But that's the point of the story. But while he was still a long way off, the father was longing for him to return. Eager for him to return, not to pay him back, not to punish him appropriately, but that he would come home. Let me keep going. From verse 21. "And the son said to the father, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Bring quickly the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring the fattened calf, the celebratory meal, and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate." So the father is not holding a grudge. The father is just grateful that his son who was dead has turned, repented, and come home, and would just want to celebrate that. The point being the eagerness to forgive and receive his children home. That is your heavenly Father. Now the rest of the story is about bitterness. It's about someone feeling like they are losing because their father has forgiven someone else. And I'm going to share an element that connected with me while reading this today. The idea here is about bitterness, and I have suffered from this. So let's read this. "Now, his older son, the older brother of the prodigal, was in the field, and he came and drew near to the house, and he heard music and dancing, and he called one of his servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him," the servant said to the older brother who had never left, "Your brother has come. Your father has killed the fattened calf because he has received him back safe and sound." But he, the older brother, was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated him. Father knew that the older son was, I'll use the word bitter, but displeased. But he answered his father, "Look, these many years I have served you. I never disobeyed your commands, yet you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him." Older son questioning the father's response to the younger son, prodigal, coming home. "And the father said to him, 'Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad, for this your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. So there's a song that for years I have found myself needing to hear it as a coaching session when driving down the road, when frustrated by something closely associated with bitterness. It's a song by 10th Avenue North. The lead singer of 10th Avenue North happens to be a local Fredericksburg, Virginia guy where I live. He happened to go to the high school that my kids have gone to, and one of them still goes to. And the point of this song is just this. In the chorus it says, "Oh Father, won't you forgive them? They don't know what they've been doing." And of course that is very close to one of Jesus' statements from the cross in Luke 23:34 that he says about the people crucifying him. Father, they don't know what they're doing. And of course the next line is what kills me. "Oh Father, give me the grace to forgive them, because I feel like the one losing." That is, the older son feels like somehow he's losing because his father is celebrating his younger brother, who did something wrong, has come home and is alive. That, of course, makes no sense, but if we're honest, I think many of us feel that way. So I've a number of times found myself driving somewhere, heading into some work environment, some environment, and I have needed to listen to this and be like, I'm not losing. I want my friends, I want those close to me to be forgiven, and to have their faults and their sins forgiven, and I don't need them to pay. I'm not losing anything because my Heavenly Father is forgiving them. So this has been a song that I've long loved. I'm going to link a version of it that I particularly like, a live version of the song linked below. So Chris Smith, I expect that you are doing better. I'm looking forward to an update. I'm looking forward to being with you, most importantly. I can't wait to have these conversations mano-a-mano, face-to-face, maybe while looking over a sunrise or a sunset in the Chesapeake Bay on the next Radiant Hope. Our boat arrives tomorrow. I can't wait to have you and your girls and me and my girls on it. Be a great time, brother. Your job. Your specified task, big deep breaths. Need to stretch out those lungs. I had pneumonia. They had to put me down too. Stretch out those lungs. They need to get inflated to get to healing. And wake up. All right? That is your job. Fight to wake up. All right, brother? I can't wait to see you. And I look forward to having some times with you in the near future. Godspeed.